The MCU went through a little bit of a dry spell where we had like Shang-Chi and Eternals, but Spider-Man No Way Home brought it back in a big way, and we got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness this weekend. It looks like it's already, at least financially, looks like it's going to be a hit, but that doesn't make it it's good. And here to talk with me about that is comic book writer, editor Joe Corallo, to talk about whether or not Doctor Strange is a good movie or not. How you doing, Joe?
I'm all right, Wes. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So we're going to talk about some of the things going around here. I haven't seen the movie, so obviously Joe is the correspondent here, and we are going to talk about some spoiler stuff later on in the video, but I will give you a nice big disclaimer that spoiler stuff is about to happen, because there were some thoughts that this was going to be kind of vital to this next phases of the MCU and some things that they're going to be introducing. One of the things I was really excited about, Joe, is I'm an enormous fan of Sam Raimi. His Evil Dead trilogy is absolutely brilliant. Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, phenomenal comic book movies. I was hoping that this would be a change from the kind of formulaic MCU film, because Sam Raimi is a director that actually has kind of his own style and whatnot. So did we get some Sam Raimi in this film?
You get like 25 minutes of Sam Raimi scattered through, and especially towards the end, but too much of the movie feels like your standard studio, bland Marvel product.
Okay, so he wasn't able to put his own stamp on it too much?
No, I mean, there are absolute moments in it where you're like, this is a Sam Raimi moment. And there's a couple of fights towards the end. There's a few moments with some sort of horrific things happening, but it's all, it's not all the way.
It's an MCU movie.
Raimi.
Yeah, I got you. So one of the things we knew that was going to happen, this wasn't just going to be Doctor Strange film, but it was also heavily going to feature the Scarlet Witch, who we've obviously seen in the MCU, seen on Disney+. Mm-hmm. I've heard rumors that perhaps the Scarlet Witch is kind of front and center and Doctor Strange takes a step back. Is that what's happening here? Or are they kind of co-features?
She is heavily prominent in it. America Chavez is also very heavily prominent in it. She's in the very first scene of the movie and is just in the whole movie. Doctor Strange does kind of take a step back in some crucial moments, but for the most part, he's really the lead of the movie.
Oh, so I think a lot of people were expecting America Chavez to be introduced and play like a cameo supporting role, not really to be present throughout the entire film. So if you weren't looking for America Chavez to be heavily featured, you might be a little bit disappointed. Like too much America.
She's basically like It's basically like Doctor Who, where Stephen Strange and America Chavez are the Doctor and the Companion. She's in just about the entire thing.
That's really strange, because America Chavez really isn't heavily associated with Doctor Strange in comic books at all.
Nope, not even a little bit.
All right, Joe, I'm going to ask you the question. We've been doing this for a few minutes here. Do you recommend this movie? Is it actually good? Because it doesn't sound like it's good, just from my position, the way you've described it.
No, I an overall wouldn't recommend. However, if you are following all the Marvel stuff, you're gonna have to watch it, because it's a piece of that jigsaw puzzle of Marvel. They're clearly going to reference events that happen in this, so it makes it difficult to skip. If you've been disappointed by the direction that Marvel's been going since Endgame, which is no direction at all, this continues that rudderless nonsense that we've been getting ever since Endgame. So
one of the things that we've been talking about really for like a year and a half now is all the cameos that they were promising, that there were going to be so many cameos, like even cameos like a Tom Cruise as Tony Stark, like people that were rumored to potentially play these heroes, like they were going to be coming in from other multiverses. Are there a lot of cameos? Are we going to get to see that?
There's a decent amount of cameos, but they're all kind of crammed together in one part. Other than the Bruce Campbell cameo, which you knew we were getting because it's a Sam Raimi movie. You do see Bruce Campbell in the movie, and it's a great scene. But yeah, most of the cameos that people would be talking about all crammed into one part of the film.
That's disappointing. There's another character I actually liked a lot from the original Doctor Strange movie. That would be Wong. Was Wong back? Was he at least good?
Yeah, no, Wong's good in it. He's not in it as much as I would have liked.
He's supposed to be the sidekick.
You get way more America Chavez than Wong by like a lot. Like they basically do a thing to kind of like take him off the table for a big part of the movie. It's a ton of America Chavez.
I imagine you've heard this rumor, or what people have been dubbing this version of the MCU being the MCU, that they're going to take a lot of the female characters, put them front and center. Would you say that this kind of backs that up, or are you not along with the idea that the MCU is really here now?
I'm not sure, because there are things in the movie, like, I don't tend to subscribe to any of that sort of stuff. However, with this movie, you can come up with arguments to play it either way. There are absolutely examples throughout the movie where you could be like, oh, see, look, they're propping up these characters, or, oh, no, like, look, this is also happening. So how can you say that? So
I have seen some people calling this film a bait and switch. Essentially, what they showed in the trailer was not representative of what the film is in any way, shape, or form. Do you think that is a fair amount of criticism?
I think that's pretty fair. I saw the trailers and stuff like that, and it wasn't exactly what I expected it would be. It went, again, in a completely different direction in moments. I didn't think that the primary antagonists and the plot and the focus from them was anything that we actually got in the movie. And again, with I can't stress enough, and again, I don't dislike this character, but like, I had no idea America Chavez was going to be.
Nobody did.
So heavily integrated into this movie, like such a gigantic part of this movie. Like it revolves around her in so many ways, and it's crazy.
Well, at least it's like a Joe Casey America Chavez, and not the, I can't remember the lady's name now that wrote the last
Rivera.
Gabby Rivera. Which America Chavez are we getting? Are we at least getting the better version?
Well, and I say this as, I've worked with Gabby before. I have nothing against Gabby. I've been on a panel with Gabby before. I think she does some great YA stuff. I know a lot of people weren't a fan of that run. That's not something I go back to. You're getting the Gabby Rivera.
The Fortuna America Chavez?
You are.
No.
That's completely what you're getting, which is weird, because Marvel just did that thing to try to change her origin in like the comics and make her more down to earth. But I could, if it's kind of, I guess, spoilery, I could go into.
We're about to hit the spoilers now. I'll put up the little thing. Everyone to know we're going to start hitting the spoiler stuff. What did you want to go into about this version of America Chavez that's spoilery?
Well, it's she's got her two moms from another dimension, like that looks completely alien to her own dimension, and her whole thing. She's the focus of the movie because she is the multiverse hopper, and she also has super strength sometimes for no reason, where she can just punch and break through things. But the powers. But this is the thing. It ends up being very inconsistent through the movie, because she has this power to create a big star that you can jump through and go through the multiverse, but she doesn't know how to control it. She can only activate it when she's scared. I'm not kidding. There's a moment in the movie where you get like the flashback to how she discovered her powers, and she's hanging out with her moms, and a bee lands on her hand, and she gets so scared, she opens up a portal that her moms get sucked into and are presumed dead. Man,
I feel bad for Sam Raimi. He deserved better.
I was genuinely having Jake Lloyd flashbacks.
Coming into this film, knew that there was a good chance this would be like the linchpin of what they were going to be doing moving forward, because the assumption is that the introduction of the Fantastic Four would happen here, or at least be heavily hinted at here, as well as the X-Men. Sounds like we've definitely seen Patrick Stewart's Professor X in this film. Are there any other hints at or outright debuts from a Fantastic Four X-Men characters?
We do get Jim from The Office as Mr. Fantastic.
Was that one of the cameos, or was that a confirmation that he is Mr. Fantastic? He's
Mr. Fantastic in this particular version of Earth that they're on. We get the Illuminati. The Illuminati is Jim from The Office as Mr. Fantastic, Patrick Stewart, Professor X, and he's in the floating yellow wheelchair from the Jim Lee era, the animated series. You get Black Bolt from the Inhumans show, but in like the comic accurate Black Bolt costume. Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, and Peggy Carter.
Captain Carter.
You get Captain Carter and Mordo are the like Illuminati.
I would be honest, Joe. This sounds like dog shit for the most part. Obviously, there's a couple of things that people wanted to see, but it sounds like it's really bad.
Yeah, I mean that stuff. It's like that's where all the cameos happen, but it's like a 15-minute or so bit, and then they move on to the next thing. And Captain Carter does say, "I can do this all day." They give her that line. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens like that. This is all in the Baxter Building in this particular universe because Doctor Strange and America Chavez get taken and are imprisoned in the Baxter Building. A version of Christine is working there, the Rachel McAdams character, who we haven't seen since the first Doctor Strange movie. The movie starts with like her wedding, and she's so important to the movie too, and his love for Christine. And it's like, I've seen Doctor Strange in so many movies since the first Doctor Strange movie. She's never been mentioned, but she's like the anchor for him through this movie because his like love for her extends to all different multiverses. And it's like, I'm like, what is happening?
That didn't come through in the very first movie. Certainly there were some feelings there, but it didn't feel like this was a Reed and Sue kind of a relationship where their love was so pure and true. It was just like a couple people that dated, and they certainly cared for each other, but it wasn't like going to be the end all be all whether or not they end up together.
Yeah, no, this is like end all be all. This is like the Notebook level kind of romance. It's weird like that. Again, it's like maybe if she showed up in some of the other movies, but a lot of people haven't seen her in 6 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. Is there anything else that you needed to mention before we wrap this up now that we're in the spoiler part that you wanted to hit specifically?
You need to watch WandaVision or the movie makes no sense. The villain plot. It's this plot from Into the Spider-Verse. Scarlet Witch is upset that she lost her kids and she wants to go to any multiverse where she can bring her kids here and raise her kids, which is the exact plot the Kingpin had in Into the Spider-Verse to get Vanessa and his son. So it's the same thing. So she is the villain, which is why I say it's going to be hard to make some of those arguments because she basically goes crazy and murders everyone because she wants her kids. So
if people want to continue watching the MCU, they have to see this movie.
Oh, yeah. There's no way they set up stuff in this that's not going to be in the next MCU movie.
But if you want to watch this movie, you got to be prepared to watch a bad movie. It's got a lot of America Chavez. The Gabby Rivera America Chavez, not the Joe Casey America Chavez.
Yeah, which, again, it's very weird. I thought she was just... and again, I don't know this actress. I have nothing personal against her. And I went in with a very open mind. But she was... You basically go from watching actors on a movie to when she opens her mouth, you're watching like an episode of Degrassi. Like the acting chops crash through the floor when she starts up. It's insane. I can't believe this happened. Like it's like because I'm sure they could have gotten someone else to play the character. They could have tweaked the character a little bit. They could have done these different things, but the way it all blended together, I can't believe it happened like that.
Some people have been predicting the end of the MCU as they've kind of had all their major heroes die, not a whole lot left to explore. I don't think that's happened quite yet, but it sounds like Doctor Strange might be the road to this. Definitely check this video out. Some of the past stuff we talked about the MCU and some of the things they need to fix.